People of Earth, good evening. Welcome in this edition 116 of Star Nation News. As ever, we are bringing you the news from the galaxy and what our families, our siblings, our brothers and sisters are up to. What are the empires rising and falling? What are the alliances in the making? All of this and more in this week edition of Star Nation News. Fasten your seatbelt and engage! After the fall of these two great empires, great in power, not in ethics, the Sikaar Draco-reptilians and the Nebu Orion Greys, the galaxy has been restructuring not only their political alliances, but also their trade agreements with one another. The Nebu, translated by dominion, were an assimilation of different planetary hives of greys, otherwise called Do, to a superhive, which center was located into the Orion M42 nebula. The alliance of the greys in Orion were called the Nebu, known as the Dominion. I want here to remind you a difference between Nebu and Do. As I have been discussing recently with somebody I will tell you about in a little while, who worked with the Nebu, the Do is the name they use for gray. We say gray aliens because we specify them by a color, the color gray. That's why we call them the Greys. But that's not how they're called in the galaxy. They're called the Do. The Do is the name of their species, Do, D-O-W, pronunciation. So the Nebu were a superhive that assimilated several planetary hives of Does, but not only. Other hives, anything hive they could hijack and assimilate they would. And among other hives, there were hive populations such as the Akara, the mantids, upon which I have offered to you a special edition Star Nation News recently. The Nebu created an alliance of interest that they call the Alliance of the Six. This was not a political alliance because these groups were competing against each other for the power and the territories in this galaxy, Nataru. It was more of a trading alliance of agreements. And this alliance of agreements, initiated by the Nebu, who didn't want some war about the territories the planet conquered, and especially when it came to Earth, which was very prized. A lot of resources here, not only human resources, but other resources such as material, etc. Minerals, water, a lot of things. Gold. The Nebu created in this purpose the Alliance of the Six, that was a conglomerate of the Nebu Orion Do, or Greys, known as the Dominion, the Draco-reptilian Sikaar Empire, their foremost competitors, the Kiily-Tokurt from constellation Vela, the Solipsirae Greys from Cygnus, the Zeta Reticuli small greys from Zeta Reticuli, also known as the Zrog, as they call themselves, and finally, also a fierce competitor, the Mitra from Galaxy Andromeda, interdimensional tall Do or Greys. Mitra are known and renowned for their ugly, angry face. Scary, of course. That was the alliance of the six, alliance of interest in trade. So when it came to Earth, the profits would be divided in six, and everybody would leave everybody's affairs on Earth alone. That was a good deal for everybody, and that was it. And that worked not only for Earth, for all the planets of the Grey Empire. And the other members, the 5 members' territories as well. The alliance of the six has been totally dismantled since the fall of the Nebu, the Sikaar. The 4 other members, Solipsirai, Zeta, and Kiily-Tokurt and Mitra, fell apart. When the alliances are about not political ideals, but commercial interest, everybody's selfish. Everybody is on their own, for their own. That's what happened. 2 big protectors in the alliance die. We run away because the enemy, the political enemy, the Nataru United Galactic Alliance, is so powerful, they're going to crush you because you don't have enough protection anymore to maintain the alliance. So the alliance of the six was dismantled after the Nebu fell already. There was another alliance, which was a triangle. It was called the Dark Triangle. It was the alliance between the Nebu, the Sikaar, and the Dark Fleet. And this was a political alliance, an alliance of power. They 3 together created what the Andromedans have called the galactic tyranny in the future. This is the very dark triangle the Zenate traced back to Earth. Nebu, Sikaar, Dark Fleet. Earth, Orion, Draconis. Very evil. That was dismantled as well. And thanks to the Zenate, who sent the Galactic Federation of Worlds, a military organization, to Earth. And the Federation has helped Earth getting rid of the Dark Fleet, the Nebu, the Sikaar. All of this will be described in a series of interviews I could get with a special guest who visited our star system. Because of all these alliances of interest, something happened that the commercial interest of different cultures were shifted. The Nebu and the Sikaar weren't there anymore to lead the enslavement of worlds, tyranny of worlds. So the trade suddenly shifted. New interests, new trade resources needed to be shifted and put forward. The fall of the Sikaar Nebu has dramatically impacted the slave trade, the human trade, the living stock trade, as some call them. So among all these changes that we will go really through, because it's very interesting, it's very intriguing and interesting to learn about the galactic trade and the changes of the galactic trade after fall of 2 empires and the reunion, or the union and reunion for some, of different positive groups in this galaxy, creating the United Galactic Alliance of Nataru. Among all of this, I will lead you to understand the mechanism of this. Through a series of interviews, I had the honor to perform with a Kiily-Tokurt trade ambassador who visited this galaxy, this solar system, excuse me. the solar system. Her name is Jizia. Difficult to pronounce. She visited first the Orbital Battle Station, XLR6, to request for an interview with the High Command to see if she could get clearance to trade, to bring trade agreements to the Solar System, because the Solar System has a hub, a commercial hub. So the commercial hub is under the hands of the Earth Alliance, but the Earth Alliance, what it is the conglomerate of Earth military and the Galactic Federation of Worlds, a military conglomerate, a military association. So the Earth Alliance is full in control of the hub, but the Galactic Federation of Worlds is like a brother that guides and helps and protects the star system. It's a mutual alliance of protection, the Earth Alliance. So Jizia had to get clearance from the Federation to go to the hub with the Earth Alliance and trade. Because this is not about our star system only, which the Earth Alliance is in full control. It is about bringing into the star system a galactic potential threat. And that is the affairs of the Galactic Federation of Worlds. Jizia had to deal first with them. And that is how I met her. Because as you know, if you follow my information, I've asked Thoran for a long while to have the opportunity one day to meet with the Kiily-Tokurt and ask them questions. Because I was always very intrigued by this culture that resembles so much human cultures and yet are drastically different. Especially concerning ethics and the way they see children, their own children and the children of their other species. They trade. So all of this will be developed in a series of interviews of Jizia. I spent 12 days interviewing her, 3 days physically meeting her, and the rest was communication via Thoran. Thoran would never leave me alone with the Kiily-Tokurt, ever. And he would never either allow a direct communication with the Kiily-Tokurt. So Thoran was on a mission to get me the chance to do all these interviews with her. I have over 70 pages of notes, so I'm going to present to you these interviews every week in Star Nation News. This will be mind-shattering. This will be intelligence from the core of the enemy, which is trying to redeem their name and make friends. Watch out. These are Kiily-Tokurt, very deceiving beings. And these interviews are going to be extremely interesting. Do the Kiily-Tokurt really want to buy back a name, an ethic? What ethics represent for them? All of this you will know through this series of interviews. I will be in Apeldoorn, Holland, 18th and 19th of September 2026, very soon, where I invite you to click on this link and come to the battle beyond science. This will be very interesting because it will be focused on frequencies. I absolutely think I'm going to have a good time. And I also think many of you who are in Europe will be able to come, hopefully. Apeldoorn, September 18th, 19th. Be there. The debunk of the week is Ashtar. Ashtar Sheran. What is that? Those who are more science-driven and pragmatic here haven't heard of that. Lucky you. Ashtar Sheran is a new age construct. It's not real. It's fantasy. It is fantasy. This Ashtar Sheran psyop and nonsense started after in the 70s you had this English TV program hijacked by the real Ashtar Command to bring a message to Earth. And then that gave imagination wild to the New Agers. I was told by upstairs that there was an op also using this. Of course there was. New Age movement, which was at the origin, the awakening of humanity, fantastic, beautiful, was so hijacked that it became now the enemy of disclosure. Ashtar Sheran is not real. Ashtar Sheran is an illusion construct. You see all these pictures of very cheesy, actually, and really not nice, of this pastel, like a very, very cheesy costume with a star and blonde hair and like a hand like this, like, oh my gosh, you know, it's very weird. I've just always kept away from these things. And I was told, yeah, that's totally crap. But there's a real Ashtar command. So, of course, as I was explained, I remembered because, remembering is activating. Here is the story of the real Ashtar. Ash means light, tar means seat, Ashtar. But a seat as a command seat, not a seat of power. The Ashtar Alliance was born in the Sirius B star system by a union of all the planets, cultures of this star system, to fight against the infiltration of the Nebu. That was right during the Orion Wars. The Galactic Federation of Worlds didn't exist at the time. The Galactic Federation of Worlds was born from Pleiadian minds after the Orion Wars because they wanted to protect the galaxy, build a structure, military structure that would make sure that this would never happen again. But during the Orion Wars, the Federation was not even an idea. So this military rebel alliance, which was the Ashtar Alliance, was born in the Sirius B star system, especially around the planet Nyan, where Myra lives. It's her home world. And of course, this was quickly infiltrated by Sika Reptilian, because they're the best to infiltrate. They can shapeshift, and they know that's what they do. They infiltrate and they take down from the inside. They did that in Atlantis. They did that everywhere. And on Earth, they do that. Did. So the Ashtar Alliance was infiltrated, and good to nothing. A separatist faction called themselves, was born and called themselves the Ashtar Galactic Command. Why this name? Because they separated not only politically, but physically. They created themselves as renegades, rebels from the Rebel Alliance at the start, who recreated themselves as a separatist cell, mercenaries military who would offer their service to whoever needs to knock on the Nebu. Of course, later on, the Federation, when it were organized better and strong enough, they hired them. They say, hey, let's work together. Teach us and, help us. But along the way, even though the Federation has always, through to this day, worked with the Ashtar Galactic Command as a mercenary service provider organization, the Ashtar Galactic Command always remained independent. And they offer their service to anybody. They are like a micro federation, but they are not part of any alliance. They're independent. They are mercenaries, offer services, and that's how they grow. So that's the truth. And there's an outpost in this star system in the upper atmosphere of Jupiter. Why there? Because there's the vortex, the natural stargate that is a way in and out of our star system, and they guard it ferociously because anything can come from it, The Ashtar Galactic Command doesn't interfere. They are fierce, respectful people of the Prime Directive. So they are not communicated with Earth. Once they have asked by the Federation. That was the Ashtar Vrilon. Ashtar is a title, it's not a name. Means commander. The commander Vrilon from Jupiter pass on this message on behalf of everybody. And this was great. This was great and real. Oh, of course, yes, try to debunk it. Of course, they always do. They do not communicate directly with humans in person. There's a lot of people who have been visited in astral or ethereal of Ashtar. That is all illusion, and the illusions are performed by greys, reptilians, earth demonics. No. That's the truth. I hope you enjoyed this debunk and that it brought clarity. Always working for you against the division and the deception. Taking all the hits for you to walk your path of spiritual evolution in all safety. I get this. I get you. It's okay. You'll be fine. You'll be amazing. Much love. The future of this planetary civilization is in unity. Not in unity of thought, but as working for a common purpose. These very words are not my words. They are the words of Ea, Prince of the Anak Empire. Unity doesn't mean agreeing all on something. Certainly not. That would be tyranny. Unity is keeping individuality. That's what a federation does. Individuals keeping all their cultures, their heritage, being proud of it, their language, their clothes, their traditions, but working for a common purpose for the greater good of a planet, a greater entity, a federation, a world, a civilization, a galaxy even, like the UTAN, United Galactic Federation of Nataru, UGAN. So in this, this common purpose is the evolution, the progression in spirituality, in technology, and in the expansion of this culture that is individual and sovereign and name themselves and bear their name and carry their name as a beacon. the humans of Earth, the Terra Who. That's who you all are here. And this common purpose is the only way to build the future together. Unity also doesn't mean uniting with people who want to destroy the common purpose. The unity is in the common purpose, not in the uniformity of thoughts, as you understood. The unity for the common purpose doesn't take in account the elements who want to destroy this common purpose. This is very clear, right? This is why what's happening at the moment on social media, on Earth, etc., in this little tiny disclosure community, New Age, etc., is people trashing each other, trying to take down their names, their reputations, and at the same time preaching unity. Do you see the stupidity of this, but also the wickedness? Playing on the words. The people who trash each other do not work in the common purpose of unity. This is as simple as that. You know, throughout my journey among humans, I have learned one thing. Actions speak louder than words.
Analyzing data.
The Soliari and the Sa'awik have been at war for millennia until Mureya was unified. The origin of these endless conflicts has been lost to history. Many speculate that it began with a territorial dispute in the Orpa system. Indeed, an asteroids belt carrying trillions of rocks filled with precious resources stands between Soliar and Mureya. When their star began to behave erratically, the Soliari refused to help the Sa'awik, which didn't improve their relationship. Often, an emergency crisis brings people together, but not these two cultures. Both the Sa'awik and the Soliari are human, and we know how stubborn humans can be when it comes to competition and showing off who has the biggest ego, best armada, most abundant resources, and largest territory. When Mureya eventually stabilized their magnetosphere and unified as a planetary civilization, the Sa'awik requested a peace treaty with the Soliari, dividing equally the zone between the orbits of their planets including the asteroid belt. It took time to reach these agreements, as the divide of the belt was complex and tricky, requiring an impeccable, tedious inventory of all the rocks and their resources. Peace has a price. Nowadays, both civilizations thrive in peace, having learned to grow together through cooperation, friendship, and shared interests. Although we can't tell that they are the best of friends, they have embarked on a journey that will eventually lead to a great future.
Peace is not born from the memory of war, but from the weariness of pride. When rivals learn that shared survival outweighs solitary glory, the stars themselves seem to shine more gently upon their worlds.